Oh my God. I thought the countdown was going to carry on forever, but then it stopped.
Just didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do because I'm such an idiot that if something doesn't like actually show me a countdown, I don't know what to do with it. So I just sat there going, what's happened? What happened? And Leigh-Ann went, I don't know. And we both just looked at each other. Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Are you ready for a big day? We've got a Monday and a whole week of fun ahead of us. Aren't you excited?
There's fun?
Yes, there's always fun, Leigh-Ann. Put your microphone in front of you. How long have you been in this business?
Well, firstly, it was on the wrong side. There we go.
There we are. Holy hell in a handbasket.
Just checking
What's
my
up
hair.
with you? Yes, check your hair.
Do check your hair.
And your tits and everything.
Thank you
Make
for
sure.
the close view up. You mustn't see the back, though.
What? Was it a bit of a rat's nest?
I'll show you.
Oh, my God. That looks unbelievable. All right. Where do we begin? Sure. Busy weekend, huh? Lots happening. Not just a little bit. What am I talking about? Well, America's president kind of resigned from the race, but not from the presidency. So it's okay for him to not run against Donald Trump, but it's perfectly okay for him to still have the nuclear codes.
So, yes, what does it mean?
Well, it means that the Democrats have just shown us exactly what they are. And there's no more bullshitting here. What can be unburdened by what has been. That's
Kamala.
That's so inspiring. And I knew you needed that for a minute. What can be unburdened by what has been.
I sometimes try to make sense of what she's saying.
And unburdened. Don't you get it? How many times did I repeat it? What can be unburdened by what has been. That is the most important thing you could hear this morning from the new Democratic candidate for president, Kamala Harris, who's even less popular than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But you could see everyone falling in line behind her. You asked, what does it mean? It just shows you that actually the Democrats in America don't give a shit about democracy. These are the people who've been telling you, or telling the American people for months now, since January the 6th, 3 years ago, I've been saying that was basically what did they call it? It wasn't a revolution. What was the word? Insurrection. They called it an insurrection, okay? They said, oh my God. I mean, by the way, by the end of the same day on the 6th of January, the president had been installed, the House and the Senate had opened business. Everything was as normal. Sure, there were a bunch of hicks on the lawns of the Capitol who were being arrested and carted away, and some of them we'll never see again. But there was no coup. There was no violent overthrow of the government, despite people, I don't know, shitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk or whatever. And the Buffalo guy, the Jamiroquai Buffalo helmet guy. Like, that was a big show. But nothing else happened. That was it. In fact, the only person who died on that day was one of the protesters. So these are the people who've kept telling you for months, for years, that was a violent insurrection and that they are the defenders of democracy and that Donald Trump is the greatest threat ever to democracy. And you know what they think of democracy? You know how you can tell? Because everybody who took part in the Democratic primaries, which were a whitewash anyway, because they didn't run anyone against Joe Biden, but some 14 million registered Democrats have just been completely ignored because the candidate has stepped away and handed it over to Kamala. And they were going to try something else, but I think Jill Biden got in the way and really thwarted their plans. They were going to try and have an open Democratic National Convention, DNC, on the 9th of August. And they were going to try and find someone who was more suitable, who would have got more votes than Kamala, maybe, like Gavin Newsom or Big Mike, or one of those people, right? Hasn't happened because someone in the White House, either, Joe's closest advisor, Hunter Biden, the crackhead, or his power-crazed, maniacal wife who claims to be a doctor, Jill, grabbed his phone and tweeted that he fully endorses Kamala. And now they're in a bit of a quandary. They can't really back out of that. So they're just, all it shows you is that these are the people who don't care about democracy. These are the people who just will do anything for power. Anything. They will tell you that there's an old man that's perfectly okay to run things. And then just a couple of days later, they'll tell you, oh, well, we can't run him anymore. He's clearly deranged. He's just totally senile.
Did they actually say something?
Oh, what? Who? Who are you talking
Did they
about?
all?
They all fall in line. Don't you worry. Barack Obama goes on X yesterday. He's like, I just want to say that Joe is a great guy, and what he's done is a very potent, powerful move from a man who cares about America. It took a month of pressure.
He doesn't even know.
He doesn't know. Joe doesn't know whether he's a teapot or a hockey stick. What a joke. Anyway, in case you were wondering what Joe Biden's actual announcement looked like, I have a clip of it.
Yeah.
Do we have that clip of Joe actually resigning that I sent you this morning? Very big breaking news. Take a look at this. This is what he actually said, okay? So no one can put words in his mouth.
My fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to address some of the hateful shit you've been talking about me. Many of you have said I am suffering from brain worms, or that I have applesauce for brains. Well, I won't mince words, so here it is. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of faggots. End of quote. Repeat the line. So enjoy President Cackles or President Booty Juice. I really don't give two fucks anymore. Biden out.
That's what he said. That's what he
Booty
really
juice?
said. Yeah. At least he said something more interesting and inspiring than what can be unburdened by what has been.
Oh, please.
Doesn't it give you chills when I say that? Well, this came up on the internet shortly afterwards. You know, now you got a whole lot of like white women all over America going, who's with Kamala? And one of them tweeted it out. This was the response. Take a look. Who's with Kamala? It's that still picture I sent you just now. I screenshotted this. I thought, yeah, that's probably about right. It's how most people are feeling. No one's with Kamala. I see a bunch of people who these are all white women with an abundance of compassion and no fucking brains between their ears. All going, oh my God, we've got to rally behind the woman of color. Or as Konstantin Kisin said in, here it is, Kamala for president, who's with me? Look at Dr. Jebra. I mean, whose fucking name is Jebra? Okay. And then Renda rightly says, nobody, lol. Nobody's with Kamala. I mean, it's all white Western women who are so guilt-riddled by the fact that they have the easiest lives in all of human history. And now what they're going to do is they're going to rally behind what Konstantin Kisin called a vagina of color, a VOC.
Oh, my Lord.
So good luck, guys. I saw President Zelensky's been phoning in an absolute flat panic because he's like worried that his money isn't going to come through. How's he going to fight the Russians? Because, you know, now that there's a change, maybe Kamala's not so keen.
On like
who knows,
full-blown
right?
war.
We know the American public aren't so keen. So check. Here's Biden's phone just last night, a screenshot of that. President Zelensky, my money's still coming, right? President Zelensky, 1:25 in the morning. I'm scared. 1:13 in the morning. Please answer. And then 52 missed calls at 2:47. Beautiful. This is the country that's supposed to lead the world, everybody. Good heavens.
Well, entertaining, is it not?
Isn't it great to live in South Africa by comparison?
Yeah, well.
I just want to say, I think we're in a good place.
That's the thing. In the land of the blind.
Just in case you want to feel a little more inspired, because I'm not going to say it again. That what can be.
Oh, no. Something else.
But here's another brilliant quote from the woman who is now the leading candidate for the Democratic Party in the United States of America. Vice President Kamala Harris, soon to be presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Here she is talking about the significance of the passage of time. And if after watching this clip, you haven't convinced yourself that this is one of the most stupid ignoramuses ever to occupy public office, then I don't think you have a brain either. Take a look.
And talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
I think that just stopped. We weren't meant to stop.
I'm glad somebody stopped
I think
her.
she just froze, but she carries on for like a good 2 minutes. What happened? Was it my fault, your fault? It just froze. How embarrassing. But we're still okay.
Somebody stopped her.
I think it's Kamala Harris's office. They're like, we got to scrub the internet of every fucking thing that this idiot's ever said.
This one's going live. Scrub it
Sure.
now.
So that was a lot to get into last night.
Yo.
Right. And that was just last night because there was lots of other good stuff over the weekend. Plenty of sport, which we'll get to in a short while. And South Africa and the Portuguese played in Bloemfontein.
Yes. Did you see Sugar's 6060's campaign for that?
No, I didn't.
She's there on the ball.
What did they do? That's clever.
They did like a whole Bloemfontein takeover.
Oh, yeah?
And just had loads of these delivery guys come up in support. And they were even driving in formation or riding in formation.
Oh, wow. In Bloemfontein.
Yeah. They had taken over all of the posters and...
It must have been very exciting for Bloemfontein.
Oh, yeah.
Really fuck all happens there.
We remember when we used to DJ in Bloemfontein.
Oh.
It was an exciting time.
Listen, I love Bloem. I've never had a shit time there. I've got to be honest. People are fucking fantastic. They're fun. They're friendly. But yeah, nothing happens there. It's not your fault. It's just that you're in the middle of nowhere. It's like a truck stop, really. It is. I mean, you can be cross, but it's a truck stop. It's like, there's nothing. I mean, this rugby was a big thing. Right. Cool. I'm very happy for you that you had something happen there finally. I mean, no one cares about the Cheetahs games. They happen every weekend, don't they? The Cheetahs.
Who knows?
Every second one, they're away anyway. So what do? You go up to the Naval Hill where there's the Mandela statue. You've done that once.
You also get to survive every winter.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Like I made it through.
Right. Exactly. Hey, I found something very cool for Leigh-Ann on Temu.
Oh, you did?
Because, I'm addicted to this now.
And Temu's, just brilliant.
I think it's fantastic.
You get exactly what you ordered.
You're getting cheap and cool things.
And things that surprise you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really impressed. And also, I've bought every birthday present for everyone. And it's only July. You know how good that is?
Are you really enjoying the service?
Oh, hell yes.
Are you getting what you ordered?
Yes. Exactly. There hasn't been one fuck up.
Okay. Interesting.
Not one. So I would stand by them. But this is the cool thing. I found something for you. They're making, what do they call these things? These cucumbers? I love the way they disguise a sex toy, right? They're saying fantasy-themed crystal glass cucumber model, perfect for home and kitchen decor. And they basically then got two
silicone.
glass. They're glass.
Are they glass?
Yeah. And they give the exact measurements in inches and centimeters, so you know just how big they are, right?
That's 20. That's
20
sizable.
centimeters is quite significant. It's got a handle on the end. I mean,
but glass.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, that's a thing, right?
Okay, and one's knobbly and one's
a little
for
bit
your pleasure.
Ridged. And yeah, but I mean, what are these for? You really think someone wants that to decorate their kitchen? Leigh-Ann, where would you put that as a decoration?
Well, I know where I'd put it.
So, I mean, well done to them. At least they're appealing to the
5 stars, huh?
Yeah,
4.8.
It's been rated. It's been rated 5 stars.
I mean, since when do you rate a glass cucumber 5 stars if it's for decor for your kitchen? That's if people are coming in and going, my word, where did you get that beautiful cucumber? They're not doing that. It's people who've used them who are rating it.
Yes, as decorations. What are you talking about?
Well, goodness me. So are you going to buy them?
No. No, I have no use for such a thing at all.
Send me the URL, please.
Okay. Leigh-Ann wants the URL. Steve says the bottom one has more girth. I don't know.
I don't know. That top one looks scary, to be honest. If I was being really honest,
Jesus.
I'd probably start with the bottom one on the small end.
What are we going to do? Like this hectic.
It's a decoration, says Francois Retif.
Yeah, and Raven says never run out of cucumber.
Yeah.
Wow. Because, I mean, that's what you're buying that for. Absolutely. Do you like the knobbly one or the smooth one, Leigh-Ann? Says Bitcoin Boots.
Like I said, let's start smooth and small, work our way up.
All right. While we're talking about pussy,
yes.
Here is a great video from the RNC, the Republican National Convention, the other day, because I know nobody can start their day without a little bit of Donald Trump, but don't worry, it's not him talking. It is interesting that the worst thing he's ever done, this is the worst thing I have ever done, was when he said he was going to grab someone by the pussy.
Yes, I remember that.
That was like a how dare he be so vulgar and disrespectful to women and all this stuff. He's like, if you're famous and you're rich, they'll let you grab him by the pussy. That was what he said, and he was right. And in this video, clearly his machismo, his studliness, is being advanced so far ahead of him now, even though he's a 78-year-old man.
Mm.
Clearly, Donald Trump is so irresistible that now the pussies are grabbing themselves.
Oh, yes?
Oh, yeah. Watch this video. You'll see. Look at the woman behind Trump. Take a look. There we go. There it is.
Oh, come on.
Look at that. Look. No doubt. It's plain to see, Leigh-Ann.
I don't know. Come
what do
on.
you think that is? You
Maybe
think she has-
she's a wardrobe adjustment.
Oh, come on. She's grabbing herself by the pussy. Come on. What do you think this is? Look at that.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as if her dress was so long she had to lift it off the floor or something like that.
Come on.
Now, do
can
you
see
think
what
he's
that is.
arranged for that to happen?
No, there's so much of it going on around him, he can't even see all of it anymore. He's
Please.
incapable. There's so much
Him
available.
and his mushroom penis.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
sure.
The guy's doing well. He's doing better than you and me. He survived an assassination. Give him some respect. What's wrong with you?
Mm.
All right. That is a true Trump supporter, says Bitcoin Butt. Azalea says she's tucking. Well, that's one way to say
Oh,
it.
well, there you go.
Surviving Life says, Gareth, why are you dick riding Donald Trump so much? Oh, please. Are you a Democrat who's trying to make something funny into something serious? We'll give this person a moment to find something else to watch and listen to. Hang on. Give him a minute. Go. Right. Thanks. Right. Out of there.
Next.
Back to the fun. You see, I mean, it's just, there's so much to choose. I didn't even know where to start this weekend. I don't know if you were even aware of this last week, but I only caught up with it because I didn't know. I don't watch the news as much as most people do, or I don't have to watch the news as much as most people do because it's boring as hell. If you watch the news, like TV news, it's so boring.
No,
anyway,
I mean, even just flicking through news apps that I have, it's awful.
Oh, so depressing. Anyway, I did see the story about IOL. You heard about this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so these idiots at South Africa's one of the biggest newspaper groups in the country. How the mighty have fallen, by the way. Like the media, these are people we used to trust, okay? We used to trust these publications to give us accurate, useful information so we could navigate the world and make our lives as frictionless as possible, or at least have something to talk about when you got to work. Well, what a joke that was, because IOL, one of the biggest newspaper groups in the country, it's now owned by the odious Iqbal Serve. These morons went after someone who they thought was Gulam on X. Gulam is this account. I follow it. You should follow it. It's really interesting. Very anti-Zoomer, but I mean, an interesting point of view, right? And it doesn't matter who the person is because they clearly have inside info and they're paying attention. So they get all the stories that are embarrassing for MK and for the Zoomers. And then they publish them on this Gulam X account. I don't care who it is. It could be Leigh-Ann Mole for all we know.
Could be an insider.
It could be a mole.
It could be a mole. A mole.
Exactly my point. The fact is, it's not important who the actual person is. But clearly to the guys at IOL who are in Zoomer's camp, it's now patently obvious to see, it's really important that they out this person for being, Gulam, whoever they are. So they went around the country 3 times. It's like St. Peter thrice denying Christ. 3 times they fucked this up. And one of the occasions was when they went after a comedian and an academic in KZN.
Yes.
And I don't know who this is, but I feel very sorry for this person. Anyway, IOL have had to offer a massive public apology as a result of this. And it turns out they're going to be sued as well.
Oh, wow.
For a couple of million, which is good. And they should be sued. And I hope that it comes directly out of Iqbal Serve's pocket because he's no doubt behind this. But look at these two. I don't know who they are. But if these people worked in my building, I would shit myself. These are scary looking people. Watch this video. This is their official apology. Both of them look terrifying. I mean, it's almost like they're comic book villains. And if you can't see this, you need to be watching us live on YouTube. You need to like and subscribe and get in there for the notifications, because I tell you what, you miss out on stuff like this, you are missing out. I didn't even know about this until the weekend, and man, am I happy I saw this clip. Like, I didn't think people like this existed except in like Marvel movies.
Wow.
And they've got this weird background of like New York City, but they're not in New York City.
Ooh, so sort of very villainous.
Yeah, it makes it even more villainous. Just take a look.
Oh.
Initially, our investigations identified 2 individuals linked to the Ghulam MV Twitter account, both named Mohammed Vauda. However, during the press conference, a technical error occurred in that the wrong profile was shared with our content teams and the public. This error resulted in the incorrect identification of a UKZN lecturer and comedian being identified as the person behind the account. For this error, we unreservedly apologize to Mohammed Yaqub Vauda, who was mistakenly identified. As Chief Executive Officer of the IOL platform, I will be taking concrete steps to ensure that such an oversight does not occur again. Both independent media and IOL deeply regret the error.
Who are those people?
Wow.
First of all, his head is much too small for his body. He's
First of all.
he's like a blue tick. You know those blue ticks that you find on a dog's ass? And the head is a little head, and then the little arms, and this huge big body. His head is too small for his body.
So that was the first thing you pointed out.
First thing. And
Yeah.
then she's sitting there. I don't know who she is. Like evil, like Cruella de Vil vampire. Who knows? But she's sitting there going,
But these are people in the media, right? It doesn't matter whether you're print, or online, digital.
so bad.
Surely you know someone who's going to give you better lighting.
Tracy says when you order Deborah Patter from Temu.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at her. Look at those people. I'm sorry. That is absolutely frightening. Frightening.
I mean, this is going to be something that's watched by a lot of people. Surely just better lighting and studio vibes.
And don't tell me it was a technical error. Like, you guys are wrong on substance and on content and on presentation, okay? Like, your presentation is absolutely horrific. You're meant to be a media organization. I am so embarrassed for you. And second of all, the content. How can you say it's a technical error? You finger pointed at someone who was not involved in something and basically put their life at risk. I mean, do you know how crazy some MK supporters are?
Mm,
And this person lives in KZN.
yeah.
And you've basically now made their life a living hell. They should sue you for everything you've got. Everything. That woman sounds like her name could be Griselda, says admin.
Maybe.
Maybe that's Griselda Zelda. We never did see what she
Never
looked
saw
like.
her.
That's true. And she doesn't say anything. Dad says it's Klaus Schwab's wife. I don't know about that, but that's also a good guess.
But let's just get back to the technical error.
Yes.
So in other words,
Yes.
somebody must have typed out this story and blamed someone and
Yes.
typed out his name.
Yes.
Or copy and pasted.
Yeah.
And then where was the error? Like,
No.
did they send it or
No,
by
no.
mistake?
They never explained, because you can't ask questions. They just sent out this clip. And if you were able to ask questions, that would be the first question a real journalist like you might ask.
My goodness.
Yeah. The quality, let me tell you, the quality of our media, it's so bad. It is so bad that you would be better off believing your pet spaniel than the likes of IOL.
Yeah.
And I'm being
Yeah.
kind.
And, we do have to subscribe to these news platforms now.
Oh, here we go. Sharon's found their details because, of course, Sharon's an investigative journalist.
Oh, there you go.
The editor-in-chief of independent media is Adri Senekal-de-Wet. That's the woman. And the CEO is a guy called Vyasan Subramuni. Very good. That woman looks like she's on Niope, says Romotso.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Oaks. Yes, sis. I mean, shame. I mean, you know what? To go after someone because the way they look is a really
no,
low blow.
Of
But
course.
it's all the whole thing, the presentation, the whole thing is just weird.
For someone in media. I mean, do you believe those people?
No, I would not believe those people if I had to buy a secondhand car and they were the only secondhand car salespeople left on the planet. And it was the only car. I don't know what I would do. I'd have to get a bicycle.
But
or a wheelbarrow with a lawnmower engine. I would not buy anything from them. I wouldn't buy something I could see and check and touch and feel and smell in the box from them.
Now, you see, they needed someone honest like you on their team, because that video was then watched.
I wouldn't work for
many
their team.
times afterwards.
I wouldn't work for their team. Are you joking?
And no one said anything because they're the big boss. They're not going to say,
Oaks,
just wanted to point out that this looks a bit dark.
Guys, really, we need to redo this. Brew. Brew.
Yeah, come now, Brew.
Brew. It's very bad, eh? I want to know what she sounds like. She could be Griselda Zelda. She could. Just saying.
We'll have to do some digging.
All right. So let's look at, I mean, don't tell me this country isn't interesting and there isn't new stuff every week. It's so great. It's just so great. What can be unburdened by what has been. James, come and do the sport for us. We need to know what's happening. People want to know. People have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. Listen, Nixon looks saintly compared to what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. He looks like a saint. People, if they had any historical context at all, like Richard Nixon was one of the smartest people that ever occupied the White House. You want to look up all his interviews on Iran. You will be blown away by how well informed that man was. He opened up China to the rest of the world. He was a genius compared to the morons we've got running at the moment. It's unbelievable. Like everywhere around us, it's just terrible, terrible people doing unbelievable, terrible people doing terrible things, Leigh-Ann. Terrible. At least you managed to find those cucumbers on Temu.
Yeah, those have made my week.
Absolutely. All right, so here he is, producer James. He's got a little look in on what happened over the weekend when it came to sport. And we've got Dr. Hanan joining us in a short while too, which is always my highlight of a Monday morning because we get to check in that we're not completely crazy. Don't you think?
Well, we need
Very
that
important.
calibration.
We need to be recalibrated every Monday morning. That's the secret reason we do this. And we know you need it too, so don't get all smug with me. I look into the comment section. All I see is mental illness.
That's great.
Right. It's true, right? What, you going to laugh this off? Or you're just not going to look for trouble with the comment section?
I'm not going to say it's true. I just think it's a crazy thing to say.
You know what? Crazy is what we have in abundance. And that's why we need a psychologist in every week. Okay. James, we have so much to do when it comes to sport. Let's start with the rugby, if you don't mind.
We shall start with the rugby. The Springboks went to Bloemfontein, like you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Sure, 64-21 was the final score there.
Ben was right.
Yes.
Give Ben credit.
Right. Yeah.
Right. When
Is
he was
Ben ever wrong?
No, he has been wrong once or twice, but that happens with even the best. Ben got it right, and if you had listened to him and you'd placed some bets accordingly, you would have won with super bets, right? And that's the whole reason we do this thing on the Monday. It's like Monday's a big where session where we go, if you put money down where you would have won, but where you didn't.
He also won our Clip Trip That's Gold pool.
I know that sounds like a little bit of unfair advantage he has.
Oh, he did have a burner phone, yeah. He had 2 accounts.
I heard about that.
2 different accounts.
No. Sunday they actually outed him with that. So
she does never prosper. That's what they say.
Well, I don't know. Ben's doing quite well right now. Okay.
The Boks beat Portugal 64-21. Australia also took on Georgia this past weekend. They beat them 40-29. And then the All Blacks, the New Zealanders, they took on Fiji. They won that game 47-5.
James, you didn't shave this morning. You didn't brush your hair.
I know.
You're wearing a hoodie. What are you trying to be a homeless person? What's going on here?
I tried to make an effort this morning.
Jesus,
but it's also Monday.
Next time, Flex, will you come do the sport? Because you look more presentable than James. I mean, your parents could be watching now. You know how embarrassed they would be.
They generally do, and they probably are.
How can they let you? They taught you to leave you. I'm sure you have lovely parents.
I do.
How could they be pleased to see you turn up here like a homeless man on a Monday morning? What, did you have a drunk weekend?
No, I try to put an effort.
Too much methylated spirits. What's the problem here? Huh? What happened?
Just a Monday that didn't get enough effort. That's all.
Yes, James.
At least I wasn't late. Is that?
Slim pickings is what you're going on here. At least I wasn't late. Yo.
I think that's what I said to my mum when she busted me smoking.
At least I wasn't late.
No, I said, at least it's not heroin.
Oh, God. Okay, carry on. Let's get on to the sport. Come, we have things to do.
In the world of Formula One, there was also a Grand Prix this weekend in Hungary.
Yes, how did that go?
Oscar Piastri won that one with Lando Norris, his teammate, in second.
Who's that? I've never heard of this guy.
He races for McLaren.
Oh.
He's quite a young driver. He's Lando Norris's teammate.
Okay.
Lando Norris, who came second, and then fellow Brit Lewis Hamilton, who came third for his 200th career podium, which is quite impressive.
That is good. Very good.
Max still at the top of the standings for the F1 by quite a bit, 265 points for him there, with Lando Norris in second with 189. So quite a gap still, quite a season still.
Wouldn't be feasible for anyone to think they could catch up, right?
Very, very slim chance. Very, very slim. It's possible mathematically, but very slim.
Okay.
This weekend, there was also the closing stage of the Tour de France. Tadej Pogacar won that one. It was his second major this year. He also won the Tour de France as well as the Giro d'Italia earlier this year. He's like, how can I put this? I was watching it yesterday. He's like what seems to be the Messi of the cycling world.
Oh yeah, that's why I've never heard of him.
He's like a generational talent.
Even though
I've been following this year's Tour de France.
Sure, but I mean, you're definitely exception to the rule. I mean, who in the whole universe gives a shit about cycling? But okay, you're saying he's like the Messi of cycling.
Yeah.
He's nailing all the titles for the first time in a long time.
Woo!
Was that a cucumber?
From Temu. The best guy in cycling. That's like winning the retarded games. It's, I mean, just come on.
You got to give it to them. Some of these guys do like 200-300 kilometers a day on a bike.
Yes, but we live in an age of...
Gareth, you don't know it. You don't know.
I'm not going to... You know I hate cycling. Just leave it alone. It's stupid sport. It's not a sport. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. Fat people do it.
Really?
Okay, well...
You've seen cyclists?
Yes, I have. And there are some fat ones.
Professional cyclists.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so the Slovenian took the Tour de France. Let's move on from the cycling because soft point.
Yeah.
I see. Jeez. Okay, before we get to the Olympics.
Yes, that starts this week.
It does start this week. I just wanted to touch on the golf real quickly before I get to something. For Zonda Schauffele.
Schauffele. Yeah.
Schauffele.
I saw the end of this yesterday and I thought, ugh, what a horrible looking course. Because it is. It's ugly as sin. Okay, so I know Ben is going to come in here on Friday. He goes, oh, you don't understand. He explained to me what a links course is.
I don't even know what that is.
You didn't listen on Friday.
L-Y-N-X.
No, Links. So it's between the sea and farmland. So it links the sea to the farmland. And it's horrible. It's like tundra. It's arid. It's sandy. They call it gorse in Scotland. There's all this spiky, hairy, nasty-looking grass that comes out of the sand, and it traps the balls. And there's some horrible bunkers on that course, by the way. So I watched it, and I thought, it's called the Open Championship. It's one of the most prestigious things, a Royal Troon in Scotland, all right? I watched this, and there are all these miserable people in like 10 jackets. It's meant to be summer in Scotland, which...
That doesn't exist.
I mean, that's like winter in the Free State for us, okay? And it's horrible. They're all weather-beaten, rosy-faced, thistle-assed, just angry Scots going, oh, I think he was close to the hole. And then you've got all these poor golfers who are also like, can we just win and get the hell out of here? And then this guy, Schauffele, who's not Scheffler. I realize those are two different people.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler, yeah, he's one. And then there's this
Schauffele guy.
Schauffele dude. And they're two different people. But I mean, how similar could those surnames possibly be in the same sport? Anyway, you have never seen a course so miserable looking in your life. Not a tree, just absolute flat, windy, barren. You know, the kind of things that you imagine a very sparse, very mean Scottish upbringing. You know, here's your present from your mother.
It's a thistle.
A thistle and a block of cheese from last year that we didn't finish that she found in the basement. The place we go to hide from the wind. Terrible. But well done to Scheffler, whatever.
Zander Schauffele.
Good.
Him.
American.
I think so.
Yes.
I'm not super into golf. I really don't know much.
Yeah,
about
that's why
golf.
I'm doing the sport this morning.
Um,
So what did you want to say about the Olympics?
So, because it is around the corner, I've gotten a list together of not athletes to watch per se, but just potential shining stars for South Africa at this year's Olympics. So, firstly on the list, the biggest name, obviously, is Akani Simbini. He's 30 years old, so he's actually gotten into more of a later era of his career.
Yes.
So there's a lot of hope that he'll pick up his first gold medal at this year's Olympics. We've also got Tatiana Smith, who was Tatiana Schoenmaker. She did all the swimming things last year, tipped to do it again. All the golds. Chad Leclos, obvious reasons. He's also 32 now, so that brings him a lot more experience and doing this for quite a few more years. He's also won a combined total of 4 medals at the Olympics, so hopefully some more for him. Then someone who's tipped on the global stage to actually shock the world is Prudence Sekodiso. She does middle distance running. She's considered a phenomenon. I don't know what makes her that.
Yeah.
But she is definitely
don't say it
someone
then
to
if you're
watch.
not sure. Don't say it, because otherwise now you see you're doing an IOL here on us, because you can't back it up. And I won't have you saying things you can't
That's
back
fair.
up, James.
That's fair.
You have
Virus
to
says,
apologize. I'll be the person next to you.
Virus says James looks like he lives in his car.
It's a bad Monday.
Sure.
Really a bad Monday.
All right. Is that all?
2 more. Wade van Niekerk for obvious reasons. Also, one
Okay,
of the
so he's
best
back,
on the
even though
track.
he had that injury a couple of years ago. And
He did. And then Matthew Sates, who is just a 20-year-old swimmer, and he actually competed at his first Olympics back in 2020 when he was 18 years of age. So
okay,
that's pretty
well,
impressive.
you know, one place we usually shine is in the swimming pool.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I'm happy to take that. Let's
That's
hope
true.
that delivers some goods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Very nice.
Paris 2024.
So that
Very
kicks
excited.
off this week. So they'll have an opening ceremony.
Yeah, they will.
Okay.
Everyone will be there.
The
waving
French,
flags.
the French that cannot get a government together, we're expecting them to now put an opening ceremony together.
Did you see their president? He went for a swim in the river that's covered with
You know, the mayor of Paris.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, the mayor of Paris went for a swim in the Seine.
That's
and,
the one.
And now he has bilharzia.
Bilharzia.
I'm kidding about the bilharzia, but he probably could. I mean, worms or something. The Seine River, I mean, really, you got to be brave as hell to swim in that. But he did. Big publicity stunt. And now the man's in hospital.
Oof.
No, he's not.
No,
but
he's
I,
not.
I think he
I was
probably should
static,
be.
spoke to the fire.
He's in the Bilharzia unit.
What do we call bilharzia? You get that from, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
from-
it's just a friend of my mom's. A friend of mine's mom used to say, "Don't go in the river, you'll get bilharzia."
Right. Okay. So someone says, don't be so mean about cycling. Great legs. And everybody looks fit pence in cycling clothing.
It really is an entertaining sport, Gareth. I know you couldn't care less, but it actually really
You're not going to
is.
convince him. Don't open the argument again.
Okay, I shouldn't.
Don't.
Okay.
Do you want to go work for IOL?
No, I'm good.
All right.
There are going to be a few openings, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you very much, James.
Cool. Thanks,
Very
guys.
good. Sure. That is a little bit of sport for you, which is brought to you by Super Bets, our chance to catch up on all the weekend's activities. And there was plenty to talk about this weekend. Ben said it was going to be a boring weekend in sport, but it turns out it wasn't. I even watched a bit of golf. Who would have guessed?
Who knew?
Huh?
Wow.
Well, I just wanted to see what this links thing was all about.
Yeah.
See, you drop a seed anywhere near me. I want to see it grow. I want to learn more.
But this one didn't.
Nothing grows in Scotland. Nothing. You know what grows in Scotland? Misery. Misery. That's all. Anyway, that was your Beyond the Scoreboard weekend sports recap with Super Bets. And of course, if you are going to place bets there, remember that they support responsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline 0800 006 008. Da, 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 da. Are you interested in the Olympics?
Yes.
You are?
I don't know. I don't particularly know names and things, but it's just one of those things that's
I
really
like the
great. You can
Olympics.
turn on your
Yeah.
teller at any time. You can look at TikTok. Have you seen what the Paralympics TikTok account has been doing?
No, it's great. Simpiwe showed us on Friday.
Yeah, it's really brilliant.
No shame and lots of not taking themselves seriously.
Yeah,
I like that.
Really good. But yeah, I just like that there's something different every time. We don't get to see this stuff every year. That's why it's the Olympics. And then, we just have some South Africans who shine through, which is always exciting.
I always like it because these are people who, whether it's high jump or hurdles or, throwing the shot put, what is it? Putting the shot, actually. That kind of shit. I mean, like someone spent years getting that right and doing it as well as it's possibly able for a human being to do it.
And they made up all the rules.
They break records. And I think it's awesome. I love the Olympics. You get to see really brilliant people doing really brilliant things that aren't necessarily useful anywhere outside of the Olympics, sure, but they're still cool.
And there's always, the excitement of the athletes arriving at the Olympic Village, looking at their accommodation. Last time, remember, they had cardboard beds.
Well, I've got that again.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they don't want them to have sex. No, really.
It is. That's
what they're doing. Unbelievable. By the way, after 7:00 this morning, we will have Anthea Gardner coming in. That's
Lovely.
Right. She works hard for the money, your money. So if you want to know what's going on in the world of the economy at large, your own personal finances, the stock markets, I mean, this is where Anthea is fantastic, and she shoots the lights out. She's fantastic at all of it. She'll be joining us in a short while. Of course, her company, Cartesian Capital, turned 10 just a couple of days ago. So we're going to find out all about what's been happening with Anthea. She'll be spending a bit of time with us too. And if you've got questions, you could send those in, and maybe, just maybe, she'll be able to answer them for you. We try to be helpful. That's what we do. Shall we go to Dr. Hanan? Let's do it. Let's talk to our resident shrink this morning. It's going to be okay with Dr. Hanan Bushkin. He, of course, is the renowned psychologist and the head of the Anxiety and Trauma Clinic in Johannesburg. And this story came to us from the show a few weeks ago. There was a man who was caught cheating on his wife, and he's suing Apple. I don't know if you remember that story. He was caught because his wife discovered text messages to sex workers on his Apple devices, which he thought he had deleted. How embarrassing. But this morning, our question for Dr. Hanan is a simple one, but it's one that I don't know we've ever really figured out, is why do people cheat? So here he is. Dr. Hanan, how's it?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. We were talking earlier about how we all are, in desperate need. We didn't have you last week, and look at us. We're a disaster. So when we don't have you on the show on a Monday, we just all spin out, behave
Fall
very
apart.
badly. James has been sleeping in his car. I mean, it's just a mess. So, you know what? We're glad you're back. And this is a good question. I don't know the answer. Maybe you can help us. Why do people cheat, Doc?
Yeah. So let's unpack this a little bit. Every relationship that you will ever have with anybody is based on specific rule sets. The reason why relationships work is because there's an unspoken or spoken rule set, what I'm allowed to do and what my reason for being in the relationship is, and what you're allowed to do and what your reasons are to be in this relationship for. So when it comes to a romantic relationship, and there are many different types of relationship, let's call it a companionship or romantic relationship, committed romantic relationship, there's certain rules of engagement. I'm allowed to do X, I'm not allowed to do Y, you're allowed to do X, you're not allowed to do Y. And cheating is regarded as when the rules are being broken. So the question is, why do people break the rules? Well, there's only really one major reason. If you Google it, you'll see there's 100 reasons. There are 100 reasons why people cheat, from low self-esteem to ego to mental illness to compulsiveness or impulsiveness. There are many reasons, but really there's really one reason why people cheat. And the main reason why people cheat is because they value the alternative more than they value the relationship. Because if the game was worth staying true to the rules for, well, then people would stay true to the rules for the game, because the game is valuable. But the moment the relationship becomes, well, immaterial or not as valuable as the alternative, that's when people step out. And they're really, like, I can break it down into further two reasons of why people do that. One, long-term reasons. In other words, I don't see the potential in this relationship, and hence I need to start investing in other relationships so I can jump out. Or impulsive reasons, emotional reasons. Well, I have an opportunity to cheat. I have an opportunity to break the rules. I'm not really going to be found out. The cost versus the value. The thought process outweighs the value, outweighs the cost. So the question is, should you do it? Well, of course, you should never break the rules because you break the trust, unless you're aiming to jump out of the relationship. You should communicate with your partner why you're doing so, and then you can jump out. But you should never break the rules. But what's important that I want to mention is that, as we've always said on the show, don't trust your feelings. You should never jump out of a relationship, break the rules, because your feelings tell you to do so. If you want to get out of a relationship, you do it strategically, but you don't do it because your emotions tell you so. You do it because there are reasons and values to jumping out of the relationship.
All right, but that doesn't help the feelings, because what you're saying is that if somebody does decide to cheat, they're basically saying that someone else is more valuable than you are. So that's bound to have massive repercussions, even for the most stoic of people. Let's just imagine that I'm in a relationship. I have kids with someone. She cheats on me. I'm just going to feel worthless, and that wouldn't be my feelings leading me astray. That practically seems to be the truth.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we can talk about the feelings of the person that broke the rules versus the partner in a relationship who the rules have been broken in the relationship from. So if my wife cheats on me, my feelings, and certainly we can talk about her feelings. So as I said, the reason why she would cheat or my partner would cheat is because there's more value in the alternative. The way I deal with my feelings of cheating, that's very different, because it's very difficult to be stoic in the moment when the line is in the room or when the rules have been broken. One common theme for all human beings is that we absolutely hate and despise and work against injustice. One thing that you'll hear kids say all the time from 3 years old onwards is, this is not fair. Kids hate, human beings hate injustice. So whenever I get into a relationship and the rules are quite clear and the rules have been broken, even though they were quite clear, I feel a sense of injustice, and naturally feelings are going to come up. Feelings of resentment, hurt, frustration, disappointment. So yes, it's very difficult to be stoic in that moment, but you still have to be strategic and not follow your feelings, because if you followed your feelings in that moment, we'd all want to get our own back or get justice right back.
Revenge.
And you might do it in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, that's very, very true. The thing that I want to know is, because just looking at sort of monogamous relationships, and when these become, let's bring another partner in, whether it's just sexual or, I don't mind if you do X over weekends. When can you start changing the rules? Some people get married and after a year, someone wants to start changing the rules. It's through no fault of their own. They've just naturally decided that that's the way they want to go.
By the way, there's absolutely nothing, Leigh-Ann, of wanting to change a rule. That's a completely human nature. We play Monopoly and we realize that the game isn't working for us. So we either change the rules of the game. So I'm allowed to do this, you're allowed to do that, or we start playing a different game, and that's completely appropriate. But what you shouldn't do is change your rules unilaterally just because you feel like it without letting your partner know, because again, that breeds contempt and breeds distrust in the relationship. So how soon can you start changing the rules in the relationship? Immediately. You can get married and literally a week later turn to your partner and say, can we do things differently? How do you feel about X? How do you feel about Y? It's all a negotiation and a matter of communication to where both partners agree to the new rule set or the new rules to be implemented down the line. So you can change it from the get-go.
I mean, Selby says in the comments here, when you meet a really beautiful person who's more beautiful and nicer than the person you've got. I mean, that may be the motivation. It might be that simple. It's like, you are prettier than the person I'm currently with. I'll be with you instead. That's very That's how apes behave, right?
Yeah, and what are we really? What
Yeah, we're
are we
apes.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, completely. I mean, we've had we've just literally in the whole story of evolution, we've just literally jumped off the tree yesterday.
Yeah.
So we act like apes, and the truth is vampire, as opposed to our long-term value of the relationship, for sure.
All right. So Doc, there's one other thing. Leigh-Ann kind of hinted at this, but these people who do change the rules and they have like open relationships. Now, I'm a very tolerant and open-minded person, but the reality is I don't think that could ever work. And I'm sure there are going to be some people in the comments section, or there'll be some people who will hear about this and say, oh, no, I've had a very successful open relationship for 20 years. And it's me and my partner, we understand each other, like we read each other like a book. Everything is perfect and communication is key and all that stuff. I don't know that it's possible for humans to be non-monogamous. I mean, we say monogamy is maybe not the natural setting, and you can look at other animals and you find many of them who are polygamous, either the females or the male of the species are polygamous. I don't know that in modern society with humans, this can work. I don't know that people can share. I don't believe in the ability of people to not become attached, to not let their feelings get in the way, to not get jealous.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things about that. First of all, the divorce rate is sky high. So I don't know, we're talking maybe even higher than 50%. So monogamous relationships are mostly bound to fail, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad option. As a matter of fact, I think it's the best out of all the bad options that we have. But have we figured out the best makeup of what a committed relationship looks like? Maybe, maybe not. But the human brain likes stability and consistency. So to your point, I believe that being in a monogamous, committed relationship is probably the healthiest out of all the alternatives that we have. Relationships are tough. Even between one other person, between two people, it's really, really hard. There's so many moving parts, and you have to negotiate many rules as they keep on changing and as the personalities change in the game. Now you bring in more people, you're just complicating the game. So imagine I play Monopoly with you, and then I say, listen, at the same time, we're going to play Monopoly and Uno. And at the same time, we'll play checkers. And at the same time, we'll play chess.
Yeah.
Can it work? Maybe, but it's really complicated. Does it have value? If it works, yes, but it's really complicated. It's not to say it's a bad option, but it's to say it's a really complicated option. And most people just do not get it right. So I say simplify your life, create consistency, create stability, create honesty, create a simple game that you can enjoy with a person or with people in your world that has longevity. Don't complicate your life.
Another thing that I think is also important is that people do change along the way. So, and this doesn't necessarily have any bearing on cheating, but you have to adapt. Maybe the relationship starts off and it's purely physical and you're really into each other and it's amazing and it's exciting and it's all those things, but it has to evolve into something different. And some of the best examples I've seen of people that I know who are in happy, committed relationships are people who have become really good friends. They're honest with each other. They share everything. They can make the best out of a bad situation. They also know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And it's almost like an alliance. It's not really you can't even call it a friendship, because friendship, we all know those come and go as well. But an alliance, it's like a long-term alliance. Like, I've got your back, you got mine. We're in this together. We're going to make sure that we make a life together that means something. We're going to have kids or not, whatever we decide to do. But we're going to stick with each other and we're going to make it work. And when you are down, I'll help you. When I'm down, you'll help me, and so on. I mean, am I being a little bit rose-tinted about this?
I was going to say, that's the most romantic thing you've ever said.
I've seen this with people. And Doc, I mean, I'm a very cynical son of a bitch, but honestly, like, I see that and I see those people and it works and it seems to have longevity.
Yeah, look, I mean, you're raising a really, really cool point, which is we human beings, we change all the time. Think about yourself, Gareth. Are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? Of course not. We change, we shift. we grow, we mature in some areas, we become more immature in other areas.
Yeah.
Our needs are once changed. And the truth is you'll be different in 5 years' time.
Right.
And that transition is completely natural and normal. And if you're in a relationship, your partner goes through the same transition. And the dance has to adapt. So the whole term about alliance, we're in this together and we're going to adapt to this game together. We're going to dance it out. And today we're dancing in a particular way. And maybe tomorrow we'll dance in a different way, but it's always through negotiation. The best relationships that I've seen are not the ones that are stuck with the old rule set, but they adapt to the relationship as the relationship progresses and moves forward.
Yeah, don't think of yourself as like J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Think of yourself as Austria, Hungary, and Prussia.
Okay, now we're back to the unromantic.
Oh, but it's a thoroughly practical consideration. And you talk about like when someone's cheated on you, you have to be strategic about how you react. Also, you have to look at the balance sheet and go, can I really afford to kick up a fuss right now, or shall I wait a while? You know, you got to choose your timing.
Definitely, 100%, because there could be financial implications. You could have kids. You could have career implications. You could have family implications. You know, I've got a patient that lives overseas. They have a terrible marriage, but the woman cannot leave. She cannot leave because if she leaves, that means she loses her kids because now she has to come back to South Africa. There are many. It's not just clean and black and white. Just do this. Just be stoic about it. You have to be strategic for sure.
All right. Well, there's some good advice for a Monday morning. And if someone is cheating on you, you didn't necessarily deserve it.
You may have.
Thanks, Leigh-Ann. We're really here to make people feel better this morning, aren't we? No, I think that what you've said is really, really helpful. Be strategic. Think it through. Don't react out of emotion and feelings and passion, because obviously you are just overwhelmed by anger and by the fact that you feel less than, and you feel like you've been like everything's about betrayal in that moment. And the really smart thing to do, I suppose, is to just kind of take stock, sit there quietly and plot your way out of it.
Yeah, and it's okay to lean on somebody that will calibrate you. It's okay to lean on a trusted friend that will balance you out, or a trusted confidant or a mentor that will just guide you and show you the roadmap and how to get from point A to point B.
And just one last thing, don't pick sides if you're friends with both of them, because they will end up back together at some point, and then you are the asshole. So don't pick sides. Don't go around saying, I always knew he was a cheater. He's so terrible. I always hated him. And then 5 days later, they're back together and you're like, bad, right? All right, Doc, thank you. Always good to see you. Have a good week.
Guys. Nice to see you. You too. Bye, guys.
Lovely. Dr. Hanan Bushkin, fucking fantastic. It is.
Yep, it is.
And if someone isn't fucking you because they're fucking someone else and it's not so fantastic anymore, you've got some advice. Yeah, there we go. Useful stuff for a Monday morning. The same way you can't serve two masters, says Judas. By the way, it's a great name. She spells it Judice, but you pronounce it the same as the one who betrayed Christ. And since we're talking about betrayal, that's funny. You can't service two women or two men at the same time. You will always like one better than the other. Correct. And then that other one's going to feel bad. Not nice. And also, it's horrible. Like, no, everyone knows, and everyone is cheated in some way, shape, or form at some point in their life. I did it well into my early 20s. And I did it once, and I cheated on this girl, and I felt so shitty about things that I swore there and then I would never do it again. And I've pretty much stuck to it because it made me feel bad. I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to feel this way. So I've never done it again. For now.
For now. You never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, you never know. All right, there we go. Very good. And we will be back in just a moment, 7 o'clock. And this is The Real Network, the Gareth Cliff Show. Stick around for a whole lot more. Leigh-Ann Moles with me this morning. And most especially, you are. Join us in the comments section. Like and subscribe, etc., etc., etc. Back in a minute.
I haven't driven a hybrid car where things have gone totally wrong and topsy-turvy. So that's what I would say.
And your name?
Well, hybrids are generally a little bit heavier.
Yes.
So that can impact things like tires and so on. But I mean, I think they're eco-friendly. They have good resale value. Manufacturing is slightly eco-friendlier. That is debatable, of course. But the fact that they charge themselves through regenerative braking, I mean, the fuel savings, for example. And I mean, you don't have to spend big on a hybrid. I mean, look at the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. They're not expensive. If you're going for like a lightly used Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid, then it's an absolute win-win situation.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
I don't care about this is my competition, this is my pool. I am winning the That's Gold Clip Shift pool this year.
Yeah, you definitely are winning.
I'm
That's because you have a burner phone. Guys, if you see Ben's other random account there, please, it's a burner phone.
So guys, I'm winning. If you go to
Mfundo, I'm backing you, brother. We'll share it down the line.
I'm taking you down. I don't care.
Mfundo, we'll share it down the line.
I've got enough friends. Clip Shift, That's Gold.co.za, okay? Every time a BOK team gets announced, you go onto there and you get the team, okay? So there, click on Portugal versus SA, and then you spin. It's so super simple. And then I've already got tight forwards this whole time. So I'm going to spin right now.
Spinning.
Oh, that's good. I got Andre Estesen. Okay, so I've got a starting back this time round inside stand. He's going to score 4 tries. He's so much bigger than the rest of them.
All right. Good morning. It is Monday, and it's already the 22nd of July. We are managing to make our way through most of winter, fairly unscathed, and I hope you kept warm this weekend. It wasn't too bad. You know, during the day, it's actually really nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice. You just have to...
Very good with our winters, especially in Gauteng.
You have to wear layers.
I mean, the Capes are a different scenario in winter.
All right. But we're not here to talk about the weather.
No.
Hell no. We have so much to get to today. Leigh-Ann has a list of the world's 10 highest protein cheeses. I know that's what you come for.
Cheeses.
I know, the 10 most high protein cheeses. She's going to rank them for you. I know that's what everybody really wants.
Yeah, sure.
This morning. The big ratings machine is when Leigh-Ann brings out her list of 10 protein cheeses. So I can't wait. I mean, this to me is like the highlight of my whole year. And it only happens every couple of months. So actually, I don't think it's ever happened. So.
No, not this
First time ever. Exclusive. Only on the Gareth Cliff Show. Okay, but before we get to that, you may have heard something very strange happened while we were talking to Dr. Hanan. There was this sound of like someone screaming about a vampire.
And swearing.
Yeah. And in a Yorkshire accent.
Mm.
So what it is...
Something northern.
It wasn't James. It was actually producer Flex who hit the play button by mistake while he was busy trying to arrange things on the screen for you. But it is...
So we literally had a mad person screaming in the background while we were on.
Actual crazy person while
Hanan.
The psychologist was on with us. But here it is. It comes from a clip that, I find these weird clips that just get served up to me. And I'm not even on TikTok, so I'm missing out on some proper crazy. But here is a clip of vampire slayers.
So they believe in vampires.
They believe in vampires in Yorkshire, in England. But this is just a man who sits down he's just on a park bench. He's not a vampire, okay? And these crazy women run up and they they assault him essentially. They take this poor man and they make his whole life a misery. Eventually, he just goes, "Oh, that's enough. I'm calling police."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but here they are. Here are the Yorkshire Vampire Slayers. Now you'll understand what that noise was that you heard during Dr. Hanan. All right?
Vampire, vampire, fucking vampire! Look into the mirror, vampire, or I'll slay a living shit out of you!
Vampire, vampire, you cheeky bastard vampire. You're for it, you are.
Not let alright!
Look at cross off, lads.
Send him the shallots!
Eat on your neck, pest, and get back to your own planet.
Oh, I'm phoning the police.
No, we've got to get out of here. He's summoning bat armour.
Oh, Gary's bomber jacket's in bag. I can't leave it behind.
Leave it, Karen. It's not worth it.
This is his best then.
I said, forget about it.
Fucking hell.
Oi!
Get the vampire!
That is so much going on there.
Vampire, vampire, fucking vampire. Are you kidding? Do you think that's boring? I think that's one of the best clips I've ever seen.
That is very funny.
All right. So, I mean, there aren't really vampire slayers in Yorkshire. If there were, it would be hilarious. So that's what we've got there. I'm afraid, in case you were concerned, we'd lost it.
We just needed to serve, give receipts and prove that we're not mad.
I'll tell you what I am a little bit concerned by is the way, and this has been happening all my life, and I still haven't figured out how to get past it. You know, when people have had a baby, they talk in time in a different way to the way we talk about time. They always say, how old is your baby? And they go, it's 23 weeks. And you're like,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means. Who operates in weeks?
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. Here's a clip to illustrate exactly the problem. And this is how you should respond to anyone who answers you in baby time. Okay.
Oh, your baby is so cute.
Thanks.
How old?
34 weeks.
So
Do you have the time?
It's 972 minutes past midnight.
Yeah. Right.
100%.
Right?
100%.
4 weeks. How old? Just say the baby is brand new, newborn, just out of the womb, fresh from the oven, or say it's about to turn 1. I don't care about anything in between. I really don't give a shit.
Turned 1 in June is even okay.
No one is that interested in your child. No one. Nobody. Not even your in-laws or your other relatives. They don't care.
They'd be more interested in your puppy.
Yes. And you don't go, my puppy's 34 weeks old.
Yeah.
You don't. You go, it's under a year. Under a year. Can't do anything yet.
6 months.
The
3
child's
months.
not even 1 year old yet. It can't work yet. We'll talk about it when it gets to work.
And I mean, the counting starts way before it's born.
How old does a child have to be before you can put it to work?
7.
At least 7. That's quite reasonable. All right, here it is. I know you've been waiting all day for this. The top 10 high-protein cheeses from Leigh-Ann Mole. I can't believe you think people are interested in this, but go. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
It was kind of like a quick filler piece that I thought could go towards the end.
Were you rummaging around in your kitchen last night? And you're like,
no, I mean, I've got much better stories than that.
No,
one.
I think this is the one.
Really?
Yes, go. You brought it up. Now you're going to deliver.
But you know what? To me, it's actually quite important. We all like to eat high protein rather than carbs. Some of us.
Most of us. It's supposedly good. It's healthy for you.
It became a trend and it stuck around for most people. And you often wonder, I wonder how much protein is in this cheese.
No, I don't. But go on.
Do you not?
Look at her try. She's trying so hard to sell this to us. She's like those two people from IOL in that video I showed you earlier, trying to convince everybody they're really sorry about outing the Gulam account guy. And they're like, we really unreservedly apologize. Yeah, sure. We can tell you crooks. Look, there she is. There she is.
You would believe anything she said about cheese.
Okay, go. Let's hear about your cheese's crust.
Okay. So if you're going to look for a cheese to pop into your lunchbox every day.
Just get to the list, for fuck's sake. Just get to the list.
All right. In 10th place, feta. We'll start there. We all know what it is. Just know it's in 10th place. Something better than that, if you're wanting more protein, is mozzarella.
Right.
It's creamy and delicate.
Yeah.
With low moisture.
So far, I'm not convinced either of these are particularly good for oaks who want to like get into shape for a fitness competition. But go on.
Well, now you know if an oak says to you, cheddar is the best, the best
You know what?
protein.
I'm trying to get buff. What's the right cheese?
Well, it's not cheddar because that's number 8.
Oh, no good.
What's better than cheddar is Gouda.
But only fractionally.
Fractionally, yes, about
we're not
7
even in the,
grams
guys,
of protein.
This is so exciting. We're not even in the top 5.
Which is your favorite cheese?
Really, who cares? Carry on.
And then this is an American thing, although I've seen it in some stores here, is Monterey Jack.
Don't know that.
Usually used on quesadillas, nachos, cheeseburgers.
Okay.
5th place, as the Americans would say, provolone, but it's Italian and
Provolone.
it's provolone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Provolone.
Mozzarella, provolone. Where was that from again?
No, I don't
remember.
know, but it's revolting. Okay. Number 4.
That's my favorite cheese, by the way.
Okay, well, there we are. At least we got your favorite cheese out of this so far.
So I'm eating the 5th best in protein with
Good
that
for
cheese.
you. You should be very proud.
Always one up are the Swiss. So Swiss cheese is in 4th place.
Okay.
That ideal for sandwiches and, of course, fondues.
Yes.
Although if you're going to have that much cheese at once, I don't think it's a good idea.
No.
So 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Any cheeses that you can think of that I've left out?
Leigh-Ann, my experience of cheese, I think you've covered pretty much all the cheeses I've ever heard of in my life, and more than I could ever have wanted.
Well, you're going to be sorry because you know this one. It's called Gruyere.
You estimate my knowledge of cheese as far too high. I'm afraid.
So you don't know this firm yellow cheese with a slightly sweet and nutty taste?
I've never heard of it. No.
Goodness me. Well, it's used for your French onion soups mainly.
There we are.
So that's a good protein dish.
Yeah,
To have a French onion soup.
Big French onion soup fan. Yeah.
Second, I didn't know this one. Romano cheese.
No.
But I do know that it's hard and salty and has a strong flavor. That's second best.
We are still talking about cheese, by the way, for anyone who's just joined us and thinks that they've found Pornhub instead of our show by mistake. Number 1.
Oh, the best cheese you're going to eat if you're looking for high protein
is
Parmesan.
Oh my God.
Or like the Americans would say,
Parmesan.
Known for its rich, nutty flavor and sharp aroma. This is the stuff we put on spaghetti. If you want to load up that spaghetti with some protein, slap on the Parmesan. If you want to load up that risotto with protein, slap on the Parmesan.
Vampire, fucking vampire. I've had it with you. You're done for, you are.
I want to know how many bodybuilders are adding Parmesan to their lunches.
No, I mean, listen, if you are searching through the cheese category to find your protein, you really have been misled.
10 grams of protein for one serving.
No. I would like very much to welcome none other than the great and terrific and amazing and much missed on the show, Anthea Gardner.
Yeah.
Come and grab a seat, Anthea. We don't stand on ceremony here.
It's not
Here
very
she is.
formal. You don't have to worry about it.
No, it's not formal at all. How the hell are you?
I'm good.
How are
I'm
you?
very good. How are
So
you
nice
guys?
to see you. Yeah, it's very, very good. So, Anthea, first of all, congratulations on 10 years of Cartesian Capital. I got some very nice cupcakes from you as a birthday celebration and a bottle of wine.
Cupcakes.
Were you absolutely spellbound, as I was, by Leigh-Ann's cheese list?
Totally.
Yeah.
I could not believe that.
No.
That's all I've got
Thanks for
to
the
say.
support.
Sorry.
You have no other contributions about cheese.
No, that's no. She covered it very well.
So for anybody who is new to the show, maybe Anthea has been our resident money expert for years. She's always been very, very helpful in giving us all the info that we needed. But she started a firm called Cartesian Capital back in 2014. And she is the fixed income and hedge fund manager, also overseeing the balanced funds and corporate cash management solutions. Am I
Is
right?
that
Did
too
I get
much
that right?
jargon?
No, I
Yes.
like that. I like
you
to get it
don't
right.
Okay.
She's also the author of a best-selling finance book called Make Your Money Work for You, which was recently converted into an audiobook for those lazy people who can't read anymore. But that's good.
most of the population these days, right?
Yeah,
Nobody
people can't
reads
read. No,
anymore. It's driving
sadly
me
not.
insane.
Here you were toiling over a hot stove trying to make a book, and now you have to read it anyway for them, like their children.
You have to read it for them. That's
Yeah,
a good
like
way
their
of putting an
children.
audiobook.
Please, Anthea, will you read the story to us? Yeah, all right, here's your audiobook. So how's it going? How are you?
So it's good. Very exciting. Cartesian turning 10 years is a big deal.
It is a big
think.
deal. Yeah.
And we also launched a hedge fund this year, and that's busy work. Sure. That takes a lot of effort. There's one thing just, buying and hoping that the stock or the bond yields what you want it to, but deciding to short or deciding when the market's coming off and trying to get it at the right time is quite something. Yeah. And then, of course, all this politics. Wow. That's kept us busy this year.
And the politics affects the economics.
Yeah, absolutely.
You taught us that a long time ago. And in America at the moment, who knows what's going to happen? The soap opera just continues to get weirder and weirder.
Well, I think Trump's a show-in. And the problem for us is that he's, let's call it reinflationary. So he will cause inflation. And he doesn't like emerging markets, right? I don't need to repeat what he said.
Shithole countries.
There you go.
Yeah.
You repeated it for me. Thank
Yeah.
you. Exactly. So
please,
it's
I'm
not great
sensitive.
for us.
And in case you don't know,
Oh, yes.
I'm not sensitive.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, let's just look at the macroeconomics for a second, because this is what you're also very good at helping us understand. You're saying he would be inflationary for us here in South Africa,
Yep.
but for America, probably not.
No, he'd be great for America.
Well, that's what he's promised. Make America great again. He doesn't give a shit about us.
Exactly. He'll be good for the dollar. So all his policies are very dollar strength based. So he wants a strong dollar, but it's not, I mean, for us, it's terrible, right? Because a weaker rand and we're net importers of goods. And so for a stronger dollar, obviously means a weaker rand, and a weaker rand means we're paying more for goods that we're importing. And so that's inflation.
So would you say that it would be prudent for South Africans to support Kamala instead? Is Kamala better for us?
Yeah, actually, probably.
Really?
Yeah, but her chances are grim. Hey? That doesn't look good for her. Last week on Bloomberg, there's a little screen where you can see what the chances are of each president, of each candidate becoming president. Trump's was 64. Kamala finally overtook Biden at 26% though.
Oh.
That's her chances of becoming president.
Piss poor odds.
Yeah, I mean, look, anything can happen from now until November, first week of November, but I doubt it. I really do.
Okay.
And we don't get to vote.
No, we don't
We
have a say.
think.
We don't. But here in South Africa, the GNU and the indications that the government is going to be doing things a little differently. These are surely good signs, and have given all those terrified people who people in politics refer to as the market, skittish people who are just terrified that their money is going to be stolen out from under them. Those people are a little more placated and happy with this government than they were with just an ANC government.
100%. Somebody told me the other day that they thought this was going to be a 5-year bull market for South Africa. I was like, I don't think so, but okay. So just to give you an idea, since the GNU was announced, the equity market's up 5%, the bond market's up 9%. And you've seen the rand, right? I know you follow the rand.
Yeah.
So it's gone from 19 and strengthened all the way to 18. Last I checked was 26, although it was kind of 1801, 1802 at one stage.
Yeah.
So that's great. And I think there's still a bit of nervousness, like nobody's sure what exactly is going to happen. And after the announcement, let me tell you, those foreigners were buying South African bonds left, right, and center. I think it's difficult to find out or to find an 11% yield anywhere else in the world, which is what our government bonds are yielding. And so that's considered risk-free. So you definitely want to be buying risk-free at 11%. You don't know where else in the world you're going to get that. And I understand, of course, that if a US investor takes his dollars, converts it to rands, buys South African government bonds, and then waits a bit, and then the rand weakens, there's a purchasing power parity story where the weaker rand doesn't help him.
Yeah.
So he is a bit nervous about that.
What about the people we've got in charge of our economy? The the finance minister, Enoch Godongwana, we don't mind him.
We like
been
him, actually.
He's been quite a steady hand.
Yeah, definitely a steady hand on the tiller. We like him, and we're delighted that he got reappointed.
And we also like the governor of the Reserve Bank.
So this is an interesting one because the governor of the Reserve Bank, his contract came up for renewal. I think it was May or March. Can't remember exactly. And three of the deputy governors were going to come up for renewal later in the year. And all of them renewed their contract before elections. And I don't know if they renewed it because they didn't know what was going to happen in politics. And the governors and deputy governors are appointed or serve at the pleasure of the president.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they didn't know what was going to happen, because there was a whole story about Kuben, one of the deputy governors leaving, and the president didn't want to approve his resignation, didn't want to accept his resignation. And he eventually couldn't wait anymore, so he just left.
They're almost behaving like hedge fund managers.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Hedging their
Gareth.
bets before the election.
Right.
But we are happy with them in general. That the Reserve Bank also needs to be quite steady because, of course, there's the Monetary Policy Commission. They're the ones who determine interest rates. That's all quite important.
Correct. I think that's what you've got in the Reserve Bank now. Very smart people running the Reserve Bank. And I think independence is so crucial. That's kind of key. And I don't know if some of the other parties understand that. They want to nationalize the Reserve Bank. And I think that would be disastrous.
They're not in the government anymore, so we don't have to. Well, they never have been.
Yeah.
Long may that remain the case, because these are not people who understand economics. But for the average South African, Anthea, we are not exactly out of the woods. We are a country that's hugely in debt. We're a country of huge poverty. We're a country where people don't have a lot of disposable income. So it's tight. It's difficult out there.
Yeah. We're what you call in a stagflationary environment. And the three things that point to stagflation, high unemployment, low economic growth, and high inflation. And it's probably the most difficult economic situation to manage yourself out of. And we've had very high inflation. We've had, the interest rate went from, I must try and remember what it was, 3.75, the repo rate, to 8.75, right? And that's really hurting kind of your consumer, because South Africans are very highly indebted. And if your increase in your repayment is suddenly so high, you no longer have any discretionary money to spend. And that's a problem. So what we're hoping for at the moment, fingers crossed and all that,
right,
is that interest rates will
they have been since I got here. I didn't know. Just in case.
Since last Thursday during the MPC meeting, that the Reserve Banks, central banks around the world will start cutting interest rates. Now, we have a 4.5% inflation target rate, and it's kind of the midpoint of the band of 3 to 6%. But our inflation is still 5.2%. So in my opinion, you can't, the central bank or the Reserve Bank can't cut interest rates until they get back to the inflation target. And the governor was talking about potentially lowering the inflation target, because he understands inflation is very bad for the poor. So you think having high interest rates because you're indebted and your repayments are high, that's terrible. But actually, it's even worse with inflation, because you have to eat and you can't afford food. By the way, I discovered something last week, which I kind of knew, but wasn't 100% sure of the numbers. Half of South Africa lives below the upper bound poverty line. Half.
Yeah.
Of 60 million people.
That's very scary.
And 25% of those live below the breadline, or they experience food poverty. Like, they go to bed. 25% of our population goes to bed hungry every night.
Yes.
Anyway, so there I was talking about interest rates. So what we want is the interest rate to come down. We want the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates. And everybody's saying September, or up until last Thursday, the MPC meeting, everyone was saying September. But I'm now thinking November. And I'm afraid you're just going to have to fuss bait until then.
So all that finger crossing was for bugger all.
I crossed mine a long time ago.
When I started talking.
Yeah, I didn't have them crossed.
Okay.
I also believe you've started flying.
Yes.
What are you flying?
I'm flying a Cessna 172 Loving it. I
Look
mean,
at
I knew
you.
I'd like it. It's not a cheap
Look
sport.
at this.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know what else to tell you
That's
other
so
than it's
fun.
really early mornings.
Yeah.
No late night parties the night
No.
before. You can't do any of that nonsense anymore.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And have you and George Mienie had a
I must send you
conversation
some.
about this yet? Because George also flies.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, we haven't
all
had a
the cool
conversation.
people I know have decided to do pilot's licenses and things. So how far in are you? I mean, how many hours have you got?
So I've only got 14 hours, and then I had to stop
You
because I
literally
had
just started.
in January, and then in April I had to ground myself because I hadn't written any exams, so I couldn't go solo. And you, I just wanted to fly. I was like, just let me fly. What do you mean I have to write
Anthea,
exams?
if this woman, everybody take a screenshot. If this woman pitches up at an airport and just says, just give me the controls of the plane. Just give me a plane. Don't let her.
Especially if she's walking around like this.
I think my instructor walks around like that. Every time we get in the plane, he's like, we'll be fine, right?
So are you enjoying it?
Loving it. It's one of the best things I've ever done. I mean, you know, I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like I scuba dive, I ski, but this is just off the charts.
Fantastic. God, I'm so excited for
Amazing.
you. Wow. All right. So we've got a little update from Anthea, not only on the economy and all the stuff that you need to know about your own wallet, but also about what she's up to and some very, very cool things going on. And for anybody who's interested in more, we'll try to bring her back when she isn't so busy flying in the early mornings or managing hedge funds and all kinds of other things. And it's really good to see you.
Thanks, Gareth. Thanks, Leigh-Ann. Really good to see
And
you guys.
congrats on 10 years of Cartesian.
Thank you very much.
Very, very good. All right. There's Anthea Gardner, everybody. We got George Mienie popping by to see us this morning because it's a Monday. And you know what? It's always nice to see George. Every couple of weeks, he pops by and sees us, and we get onto some fun things. And don't forget, if you see a vampire, what must you say?
Vampire.
Fucking vampire. And then hold up a mirror in front of him. It's great. So good. Okay, how about this? Here is probably the most disturbing clip I've ever seen.
Oh.
It's some cartoon. I don't know where it's from. Someone sent this to me on WhatsApp, so I don't even know. I can't credit anybody with it. But it is deeply distressing. It looks like it's in some sort of underground place. It's a cartoon, but the creatures are half cow, half human, and they're making Chick-fil-A sauce. Okay?
Oh.
It's very disturbing. You'll see how they make it. Ooh.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Would you like Chick-fil-A sauce, sir?
What the fuck is this?
No Chick-fil-A sauce? Really?
It's our pleasure, sir. Which way do we go? Oh, God. Sir, would you like a Chick-fil-A sauce?
I don't know what that is.
What the hell?
But I did think that if you weren't awake yet this Monday morning, that would do it.
Oh my God. Were they wanking their teats? I couldn't figure it out. So wait, the cow, but it was low and they were male.
I don't know, Leigh-Ann. I don't know.
And who's got such a grudge against Chick-fil-A sauce? I mean, I've never had it.
It's bad.
It's Beavis and Butthead and animals. Those would be them.
It's bad, right? I mean, it is a very disturbing clip.
Yeah.
So, you know what? In case you didn't know what the hell was going on now, you don't even know let alone what the hell is going on. George, how are you, George?
Good on you.
Nice to see you. We always welcome you with a great clip.
That's a brilliant clip.
So you didn't get to talk about flying with Anthea?
No, I didn't. We were quietly in the corner there.
Okay, well, I appreciate the fact that you two weren't chatting it up and embarrassing us and interrupting the show.
Exactly.
But you'll get to discuss that. Nice to see Anthea again. How have you been?
Very good.
Good.
Always
What's
very
news?
Good. Been busy traveling around. I feel like I've hardly seen home. I've been in Cape Town for a while.
Okay. That's not good.
And this morning, I pushed snooze. I never push snooze. And that snooze button just got me. It's like, 10 more minutes. Be fine.
Yeah, you must never ever go. Listen, that is actually a danger. I only want I'm up now, stop ringing alarm bell.
It's hard making that decision though, because I never know which is which.
Yeah, because
and
you
just want it to shut up.
Yeah,
but the stop button is small at the bottom of the phone.
Yes,
I don't know if you've noticed, on purpose. And the snooze button is a big orange thing.
Yeah, exactly. Not right. I think that probably it's harder to wake up in winter though than it is in summer. In summer, you're like up and out of bed and you're ready to go. What I do like, and I know we don't like to talk about the weather too much, but it does come up, and that is what people say when they get into the office, like, ooh, brr, it's cold, and you're like, no shit, Sherlock. But I do think it's quite nice to get up and be like hit by cold air, and it's sort of, you don't have time to linger, you know, you kind of have to get going from that point on. There's no messing around like, ooh, I think I'll just stretch and yawn a bit. It's too cold. You got to get up and go.
Yeah.
That's what you have to
Can't
do.
put that head down back on that pillow.
Hell no.
Ooh.
And I see lots of cool things happening on the Auto Trader show. We actually played a bit of the Auto Trader podcast just now during the break, and you got to see what they're all talking about. How are we doing? I mean, Anthea just spoke about the economy, and you always tell us what's happening with car sales and used car sales, new car sales, because it's a very good barometer. Are we seeing any slight uptick?
So in the last couple of months, up to end of June, there was a sharp decline in used car price increases, so used car price inflation.
Okay.
New car price inflation is holding water. So it's not the new car sales that are, or should I say, the prices of new cars that are falling. It's the prices of used cars that are falling.
Okay.
And it's a hangover from COVID, because during COVID, remember what happened to interest rates? Interest rates plummeted.
Yeah.
So people started to buy stuff, houses, cars, and that kept the prices up. And used car price inflation was anywhere between 7 and 9% over the last couple of years. It's almost an unsustainable bubble.
Of course it is, because those cars are also getting older.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's now plummeted over the last couple of months, which means that two things. One, a consumer is unlikely to sell their car at the price that they could have sold it towards the end of last year. That's unlikely. So that causes the consumer to hold on to their car, because I can't get what I was getting for the car.
And they're hoping what it will
maybe
change.
things will change.
And you know how people are. It's like, okay, maybe next week.
It's not going to happen though.
One of my customers said to me, there was a 5 Series BMW that a consumer wanted to trade in for. The consumer wanted 730,000 Rand for the car.
Sure.
The dealer offered him 705 for the car, so he turned it down. 7 days later, he was back in the dealership asking, "Is the 705 still on the table?" So that's one anecdotal example of what I'm talking about. The other effect, though, on the real economy of the automotive industry is dealers would have bought cars at higher prices the plummet of prices.
Now they're also holding on to them, hoping they'll get more.
They're battling to sell them.
Yeah.
Which then puts pressure on their profitability. So I think there's
and you don't want, as a car dealer, to have a whole floor full of cars either. That's costing you money.
That's costing you money, exactly.
Right.
So I think there's a couple of months of this hurry up and wait scenario where car dealers and consumers have to trade out of this problem, because used car prices are just not where they used to be.
Well, we're problem solvers on this show, George, and actually Leigh-Ann has a graph to show us about the plateau of latent potential. And this may relate exactly to what you're saying here, because this is about people who are trying to achieve something, but they're just not getting there.
Yeah.
The plateau of latent potential. And how many of us are guilty of this? All of us.
It just makes so much sense, this. So this was sent to me by a family member who said to me, how's your dad doing, etc., in hospital. And I said, it's just weird. You see these small improvements and then the next day is not so great.
Yeah.
All right. And that's obviously causing him some anxiety and depression and all the rest as well. So on your y-axis, you have results, and on your x-axis, you have time. And what we expect is that very linear arrow from the left corner all the way up, which is what you think should happen. So you think.
I mean, this is optimists. Pessimists obviously would go down.
No, of course.
Margin, but this is.
But that's pretty reasonable. You're not expecting amazing results. You're expecting okay results.
Yeah.
So you've set your mind at something that could actually work.
Sure.
And what actually happens is the curved arrow, and that's that it takes longer to get off the ground. You've got these smaller increments of improvement.
Yes.
And it's from this book called Atomic Habits, and he refers often to like atomic changes, so tiny little changes. But all of that doesn't go to waste. It all carries on working until all of a sudden, while you come out of that section called the Valley of Disappointment.
The thing is, most people give up in the Valley of Disappointment.
That's the thing. So the key is him saying, every day you make a marginal gain that gets you closer to the crossing the plateau of the latent potential. Then one day, ta-da, all better.
Yeah.
It's because we all suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes, which is another useful thing to throw into conversation when you're talking to smart people, because Dunning-Kruger effect is essentially people who think they're smarter than they are.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of dumb people, like in politics, for example, low-hanging fruit, and these people are convinced that they're smart, and then their stupidity is never made apparent to them.
I think that Dunning-Kruger, like
Valley of Disappointment,
like the Valley of Disappointment,
the Valley of Disappointment, yes.
is very contextual. So it depends on the context of what you're smart or not smart at. So you're not. I mean, some people are just very stupid generally, and some people are very smart generally.
Yeah.
But specific topics, you could suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect in those silos, and
I've encountered a lot of this, and sometimes I'm probably guilty of a lot of it.
I think we all are.
Yeah, and be aware, because then you can't be a victim of the Dunning-Kruger effect.
And then you're in the Valley of Disappointment squarely.
Definitely.
Right in there.
All your life. Imagine spending your whole life in the Valley of Disappointment.
Oh, my goodness.
Where do you live,
if you give
Leigh-Ann?
up?
Number 23, railway cuttings, Valley of Disappointment.
I mean, if you give up, you're going to have to start again, and you're going to be perpetually in the Valley of Disappointment.
You just never get out of that.
You have to just build day by day.
I think there's a place in PE. It's actually called the Valley of Disappointment.
What's the postcode 2192?
Oh, that's great. All right. Very, very good. Tell us about, because I think George will be interested in this too, the world's cleanest pigs.
Oh, I love the story.
Yeah, but we are using them.
Yeah, we're still going to use them.
Yes. I mean, they're not going to live happily ever after like the three little pigs in the nursery rhyme.
No. These pigs will be used.
Yes, in a horrible way, much like in that Chick-fil-A sauce video.
Not in a horrible way. They're being raised to grow kidneys and hearts for humans.
That's horrible.
Well, yes.
Do they use the pig's heart, or do they put a human heart in the pig?
They use the pig's heart. However, it has been gene edited during the egg phase of their lives.
I think George is asking, does the pig make it? And the answer is, I'm afraid, I'm very much afraid not. Yeah.
No, the pig does not make it, but so they edit the genes.
They edit the genes slightly before they have this animal to human transplantation.
No.
This could be happening as soon as next year. So they're now at the stage. Okay, firstly, let's talk about these pigs' environment. It is completely sterile. It is in a highly secure unit where you have to have layers upon layer of protective gear.
Right.
You have to step into tubs of disinfectant. There's no hay lying around.
I mean, the point
slop.
being that you could not say you're as filthy as a pig.
No.
To these pigs. These
pigs have not seen dirt.
No. Such clean pigs.
I mean,
look at them, James. You see, you just do a little grooming. Just look.
That one looks a bit like James.
Just look, James. If you just tidy up, if you just brush your hair and you just shave, look at how good you could look.
Look at that one learning how to be a James.
Look at that. That pig could probably produce the show.
It looks like Smeagol.
Shots fired. So, yes, this is a completely pathogen-free facility. This is in the US, by the way. This is like...
If it was South Africa, that pig would be bacon already.
It would be. They wouldn't allow it to get that far, surely. Yeah. But apparently transplant surgeons who are actually receiving these organs from, it's called Revivicor Farm. They'll say things like, oh my God, that's the most beautiful kidney I've ever seen. Or, what a pink, healthy, happy heart.
Yes, because of course we're all trying to look at each other's hearts and kidneys. So obviously they're trying very hard to not allow any infection in there, which would be a problem when it comes to transplanting. Carl DeSantis says, I want a pork chop from one of those clean pigs. Sounds lekker. That's a very South African response, right?
No tapeworm in there.
I want a lekker pork chop.
So this is actually called xenotransplantation.
Yes.
And where we are at with it now is that they are currently being transplanted into baboons, these hearts and kidneys.
Successfully.
Sure.
Successfully.
Wow. It just shows you how artificial hearts and artificial organs are nowhere near even an animal's anatomy.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's so interesting for me. My dad has just had a device implanted, which is the next best thing to a full transplant.
Yeah.
And it's working beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And he's currently in the valley of disappointment, which we should be getting out of soon.
Azalea says the valley of disappointment is where we should send James.
But most of these patients now do still go onto a transplant waiting list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see it on TV. Someone in the hospital has to die basically at the same time that you need your new whatever for it to happen.
And be compatible.
But it's on the table.
Correct.
Someone said to me, your father's in his 70s. No one's going to give him a transplant, but they actually do. But now this could happen so much faster.
Yeah.
And Leigh-Ann, how far off are we of like having human cow hybrids who can make Chick-fil-A sauce?
We're already there. So those were renders that you saw.
Okay. So that could be real.
Those are going into the actual phase beyond design.
What I found most disturbing about that clip wasn't that there are human cow hybrids, and now you tell me that that's a real thing, like the island of Dr. Moreau, but it was the sounds they were making. Can we have a recap, James?
Yes, let's.
Just listen to the sounds that they're making when they're filling that cauldron with Chick-fil-A sauce. Just listen. All right, that's enough. All right, okay, that's enough. It's
absolutely. I didn't know animation could be so gross.
Hey, you're the one who brought up transplants, so.
So
all right,
gross.
take it away. Take it away. I can't watch that again. It's too disturbing. There are a bunch of people in the comments section who are going crazy for that too. Okay, somebody asked, they've done 2 pig to human transplants and they didn't last longer than 60 days before dying. No thanks. Well, Nikki, no one's offering you heart or anything, so don't worry.
You're not on the list,
You have to say no before we've even offered you anything.
And you know what? Some people will take those 60 days.
Yeah, thanks. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. You are spoilt, Nikki.
You with your
Nikki Brinkley
heart, your nice pink heart.
Yes, with your nice healthy heart. You'll take a pig heart if that's all there is. It's like these people who pitch up at a buffet and go, oh, no, it's not. I won't have anything on that buffet, thank you.
I didn't order that.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
This buffet isn't for me.
No. Bad Surgeon on Netflix. The guy tried to transplant 3D printed tracheas. None of his attempts works. Never trialed either. I wonder if he's in jail.
Hopefully, but surely he had a massive team that was watching him doing that.
Yeah, listen, just do yourself a favor, and I'm sure George will back me on this. If you don't have to be in a hospital, don't be in a hospital.
Yeah.
Not a great place. Those super bugs and things they've got there. You remember we had that show with a doctor not so long ago.
Yeah.
Taught us all about this.
Yeah.
The worst, the most dangerous place is the hospital. You'd be better off with those pigs.
Yeah, that's for
Seriously.
sure.
I mean, there are
No,
pathogens
100%.
in there.
Probably be better off in a proper pig pen.
Yeah, probably the dirty one. Oh my God. Does this mean that the pigs are halal, says Ashley Hoosen. Ashley, no, halal has to do with an imam or a mullah coming in and saying some words. That's the same thing as when they make it kosher, or if, they go in nomine Patris Filius Spiritus Sancti over you at the church. It's all like magic words.
I don't know the answer to this, but is the difference between halal and kosher?
Yes, big time. One's for the Muslims, one's for the Jews.
Yeah, but isn't the cooking process in the Jewish side?
They'll tell you there is, but it's magic words. Magic word, abracadabra, bibbidi bobbidi boo.
I think you would obviously have to have, if it got to that, a kosher heart if you were looking for a transplant.
I don't think.
But I don't
you can
think they
get
would
a
allow
kosher pig heart.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of out for the Muslims and the Jews. In other words, I mean, maybe that's why Nikki just said straight up she's not interested in that pig heart. No thanks, as she said. No thanks. Maybe she's Jewish or Muslim. In which case she can't have it.
From a funeral company the other day.
Yes.
It didn't warn me that it was spam, so I answered, and she said,
"Did they sound depressed?" They go, "Hello, I'm from the funeral company.
Have you thought about what's going to happen to you one day when you die?"
Because imagine if they're sprightly and they call you from the funeral company. Hi, I'm calling you from the funeral company.
So now when you die...
No,
she said to me, "Am I interested in funeral coverage?" And I said to her,
Not
"No,
dead yet.
I'm not, thanks." And she said, "Why? Are you a Muslim?"
Oh, yeah, because they get buried like straight after, and often there's no ceremony and there's
I'm
not a
atheist.
coffin.
And then she slammed the phone down.
Yeah. It's like the next day.
Wow.
For the Muslims and the Jews, it's quick. It's like quick turnaround time. But imagine that's your job. Wow, that's a tough job. You got to sell funeral cover to people. Ugh, what depressing fucking work. Monday morning, how's your day going? Only 3 bought the coffins today.
I mean, I don't even know if these ads still run, but I can't get clientele life out of my head.
Oh,
from years and years ago when I was a kid.
What is that one?
It was on the morning shows.
I remember, and it was so depressing because you think like people are starting their day and they're on in the morning to tell you that you've better make sure you've got funeral cover or else you'll just be thrown in a hole. It's very depressing.
There was that one as well where there was a mum standing in front of the fridge in the kitchen, and the little girl looked up and poof, the mum had disappeared.
That's horrible.
It's really harsh.
Oh my God. I remember.
I used to watch cartoons when I was younger.
Yes, exactly. We were hoping for cartoons. What we got was clientele life ads. I remember recording a thing with a friend of mine called Radio Funeral. We would just read obituaries, but try to sound as depressed as possible, right? So you'd go, "Hello, welcome to Radio Funeral. I'm here with my co-host, Harold. Harold, hello. Who's dead? Well, Denise. She was 58 and she had a heart attack and she's gone now, but she'll be buried at 4:00 tomorrow afternoon." And then there's Cyril. Cyril was 72. And he was a beloved father and husband. And you had to be as depressed as possible to read it.
Brilliant.
And then you'd have kind of interruptions of like ads selling toothpaste and shit. So
24% off.
Welcome to Radio Funeral. And if you haven't put in the code funeral, you could get 20% off on all of your purchases. Anyway, I don't think it would have ever really taken off.
No.
But a lot of old people read those things. Hey, listen, those obituaries are very important to old people. How else do they know if their friends are
and
still
religious
around?
people.
Do obituaries still exist?
Yeah.
They do it. I know that they do it. It's like a big part of the newspaper.
Still.
It's part of the only reason
I
the
haven't picked
newspaper
up a
still keeps going.
newspaper in ages.
Yeah, obituaries, man. It's a big thing. And people lie in them. They say, "Oh, beloved father and loyal husband." Meanwhile, the guy was a cheater and a shit husband, shit wife, shit children. Like everything was bad. I don't think people are honest in obituaries. And they're never honest at funerals.
Yeah.
They always say such nice things. I'd love to go to a funeral where someone would say, "Yeah,
he was an asshole."
Well, no, even if they just went, he was okay. He was all right. No great shakes. That's my speech. Imagine.
It doesn't happen.
See,
Yeah.
you're even feeling awkward just sitting
No,
here. You're not even
completely.
at the funeral.
I was just
And
imagining
you
I
two
was
are
there.
wearing black, so you could be. It would be hilarious. I mean, imagine if someone told the truth at a funeral.
I've seen people give obituaries that are you can read between the lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you can tell that they didn't like them.
You know.
I've been to some very awkward funerals.
Dave was he was okay. Dave was nice to his pets. But Dave did donate his kidneys. Cheers, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks. You're a brew.
I went to a funeral once where this is, how do I explain this? The person who had died.
What a great conversation. I love this. Carry on.
The man who had died had a former wife.
Yes.
And had 2 children with this former wife.
Yeah.
He cheated on this former wife.
Yeah.
With, in fact, had a long-term affair.
Yeah.
With another woman. So the person who arranged the funeral then was the new woman.
Yes.
And she had the minister was so weird. He stood up and started telling stories about the man while his former wife and 2 kids, two teenage kids were there, and said things like, blah, blah. Cheryl remembers fondly how she walked into her office one day to find John naked on her office table with nothing but a rose between his teeth. Like, what's going on?
And that was coming from the priest?
Yes.
Wow.
Jesus, that must have been
How
a good funeral.
uncomfortable.
Did you enjoy the experience of being in an uncomfortable funeral?
No, not at all. It was awful.
Apparently, you can pay someone to come and shit talk at your funeral. It's a thing, says Azalea. That's amazing. Dave was a doers, but he had a good heart and kidneys, says Raven.
He had kidneys.
But it is awkward, like when you have the former wife and then the new wife.
Yes.
And who gets to talk? And if neither of them talk, what's the appropriate thing for either of them to say? And do they have to pretend to be friends on that day when they've spent like a lifetime hating each other's every fiber of their being?
No, it's horrible.
Wow.
And the 2 teenage daughters spoke at the funeral as well.
Sure.
Just after they'd heard that their dad was lying naked on the table.
Awkward.
XR says it's those annoying funeral ads on DSTV. Well, I'll tell you what, that is big business in this country.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, people are willing to spend an absolute fortune, and they will make sure that they cancel everything else, insurance on the house, insurance on the car, insurance on everything, but not insurance on the funeral. That won't be cancelled. They need that.
It's a religious thing.
What happened during COVID where we couldn't have funerals?
Yeah, of course. That was a disaster. Do you remember that?
I wonder what it did to that economy.
I wonder what it did to people psychologically. Can't even say goodbye. I mean, no one's really ever been held responsible in this country for all of that. They're having commissions and investigations in other parts of the world, but I don't know that anyone in this country was really ever hauled over the coals for it. And I think about all those people whose gran was in hospital and they couldn't go and see her, and then she died in hospital, and then they couldn't bury her.
Happened
and I'm like,
to my dad.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Couldn't see him.
And you have every right to still be cross if you are.
Yeah.
You know? Because it was bullshit.
Yeah. We saw him the last time, and then 10 days later, he passed away, and we didn't see him.
And imagine him for those 10 days.
No.
Yeah.
Right? That's the worst part.
Yeah.
So you're thinking this poor guy, he's like, do my family not like me?
We video called him, but that's as
man.
much as we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the sister in the hospital was very good. She would, take the phone to him on a regular basis to do video calls.
It's just so dumb though, because all of it was made up.
Yeah.
It's totally made up. Anyway, did you do anything fun over the weekend, George? Because we are starting a brand new week, and you always take work very seriously, but I know that you do lots of fun things. You fly these
I'm actually this is going to sound odd. I'm actually getting a little bit bored of flying. I've been doing it since 2007. Yeah. And the bug isn't there anymore.
What's next, George? Formula One cars?
I was thinking of
going to
maybe
space,
track racing, something in the line of the industry I work in.
So do you also like Anthea? You need an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, scuba diving. I've done scuba diving in my life. I've bungee jumped, bridge swung.
I mean, Leigh-Ann's done swinging, but not from a bridge.
No, and I mean,
No.
I've left my car with the keys in it once at the Jolly, but that was about it.
But no, it's adrenaline stuff gets my juices flowing. So I don't know. I was thinking of getting back into scuba diving. I don't know. I'm just, as your career progresses, it's a stupid excuse, but you run out of time.
It consumes,
just consumes
you.
No,
you.
sure.
Yeah.
That's why I ask, what do you even get to do over the weekend? Because I know that you are one of those people who's pretty busy. And so weekends don't necessarily mean you stop working.
Yeah.
And there are so many people who do that. I don't really have a hard stop or start on the weekend. I mean, for me, it's like if your phone rings, you have to deal with something, right? I mean, I was on a call last night while I was in bed, and it's not, I don't hate it. If you enjoy what you're doing and you're talking about stuff that you really are interested in,
not work.
Solving problems or whatever else. No, it doesn't feel like work. It's actually quite cool. But then, the next morning you feel it. That's the only problem. Hey, did you see Gayton McKenzie over the weekend?
I shudder to think. What he
ran?
done?
No, he ran a 5K marathon.
Oh.
Now, let me tell
Are
you.
they called marathons?
Well,
5Ks?
Screw you. I did 3Ks and almost died.
Mine was called a chicken run for Nando's. So I don't know what yours was.
I did 3Ks and almost died. I mean, for Gayton to have done that, and he is overweight, he acknowledges that. I think that's pretty damn good. I'm really impressed with this guy. He's not just saying things, he's doing things. You can say a lot. You can say, oh, we're going to get South Africans fit and I'm going to make a difference as Minister of Sport. I don't think we've ever had a Minister of Sport who could even run to the fridge.
He's going to be out of the valley of disappointment very quickly.
He's out of the valley of disappointment. I don't think he's even been in it. It's amazing. George, take a drive through Brakpan. That will press the adrenaline button, says Nico.
Wow.
Has it got that bad, Nico?
Wow.
Goodness me.
Yeah. I mean, there are more dangerous places, but certainly it's fun. I heard about a place called Monkey Town.
Where have I seen that before?
Monkey Town.
Yes, where they actually have somewhere in the Eastern Cape.
Oh,
obviously.
it's near Gordon's Bay.
No.
Yeah.
No, this is in the Eastern Cape. And it's not a place with monkeys that live in cages.
Oh.
No, it's humans.
No.
Yes. But really, like in that Chick-fil-A sauce video.
No.
Do those places still exist? You mean an institution?
And apparently you can hire a game drive vehicle and you can sit.
No, man. No, you dreamt it. You dreamt it.
I did dream it.
That was your fantasy dream.
Imagine driving through like some neighborhood where the people are very inbred. You got your binoculars and your biltong snacks.
Well, we do that in front of the TV, don't we?
And you drive in one of those game drive vehicles with the stepped seats. Oh, look, it has a child.
Shame, we do that with actual animals.
Sounds like zombie apocalypse.
I think it would be very, very funny. A marathon is 42 kilometers.
Yes.
You donut, says Carl. Oh, please.
Oh, Monkey Town near Gordon's Bay is closed down.
Oh, well, what have they done with all the monkeys?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Sanele says, that's right, Gareth. Ronde Belfort, rather, couldn't even walk. Don't even get me started in Balula. He can't even run a bath. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, small victories, guys. Let's take it, right? Little things that we see improving. That valley of disappointment. We're slowly coming out of the valley of disappointment. Don't pull me back in there. Okay.
Just keep going.
I'm feeling very good about this.
Your small actions are being stored, not wasted.
I wonder if that line's not more squiggly than curved.
And let's start a game drive thing through neighborhoods where people are very inbred.
Sure.
Just saying, it could be another tourist attraction.
Big morale, a big boost to your morale.
Come on. If you're feeling down, you go and take a look around some other part of town that you're not very nice, and you suddenly go, I'm lucky.
But
I'm just going to shut up.
We do that. We watch American reality TV.
That's true. And you don't have to actually get in the game drive vehicle.
No.
And you wouldn't go early in the morning because homeless people and drunks, they're not up at that time.
No.
It's not good viewing. It's like you go in the Kruger Park when the animals are awake.
Or certain seasons.
You don't go while they're sleeping. And really, for like passed out drunks and homeless people, that's pretty much all day that they passed out. Right?
Really?
What's the best time to see them? At night?
Yeah.
Dusk and dawn.
I think it's dusk
and dawn.
Yeah.
They're crepuscular. That's the word.
Crepuscular.
Yeah. Crepuscular
I've
is a
never
word.
heard that in my life.
It's a good word for people who are up at dusk and dawn, like those people.
Crepuscular.
Wow, has this been an amazing
Jesus
show?
Christ.
We've learnt a lot. Isn't that great? Gayton was at the Ballet and Dance Expo on Saturday evening, chose ballet over the Springbok versus Portugal game. Refreshing to see him interested in all arts, sports, and cultural events. Well, Chantel, that's nice to know. Thanks
You
for
know, they
letting
could have
us know.
swung the other way, though. It could have been like, he wasn't at a major rugby game. He was, where was he?
Leigh-Ann, again, you're in the valley of disappointment. Okay,
Get myself out.
Just stop fucking hell, Cheryl. All right, let's get out of here. Vampire, fucking vampire. Thank you so much, George. Always
Thank
lovely
you.
to see you. I hope that this wasn't a waste of your time to look at that clip of those Chick-fil-A sauce
With the
beans
teeth and funny blades.
3 times. Leigh-Ann, thank you very much, especially for your list of cheeses.
Thank you.
I mean, oh,
Hashtag blessed.
so important that we got through that. And I will see you on Wednesday morning, bright and early at 6 o'clock. Brrr. I'll see you there.
Vampire, fucking vampire! Walk into the mirror, vampire, or I'll slay a living shit out of you!
Vampire, you cheeky bastard vampire. You for it, you are.
Love it,
Look at cross off, lads.
Send in the shower!
Eat on your neck, pest, and get back to your own planet.
Oh, I'm phoning police.
No, we gotta get out of here. He's summoning Batama.
Oh, Gareth's bomber jacket's in bag. I can't leave it behind.
Leave it, Karen. It's not worth it.
This is his best.
I said, forget about it. Fucking hell.